Okay, in the first of 3 fixtures today in the Rugby League World Cup, Fiji played Italy up at Kingston Park in Newcastle. It was finished 60 points to 4 to Fiji. Fiji responded to that defeat to Australia, a match which they would have penciled in as a potential upset. They didn't quite perform against Australia. They were a little bit off the boil and a bit clunky, and they didn't get some of their strike players into good attacking opportunities and positions. Today, complete opposite. Italy, I think, had their moral and emotional victory against Scotland, where they easily outclassed the Scots last week, easily defeating them, but they were not on at the races today. This would have again been a match they would have penciled in as a potential upset. They couldn't get going today. They couldn't get field position, territory. They lost the forward battle. They lost the ruck speed. Their discipline wasn't good enough, and their handling let them down. But it was blustery, windy conditions, and they were playing again on that 4G pitch up in Newcastle, which is an interesting one because Italy, that's their second match they played on the pitch. They've also trained on a 4G pitch. You would think they would be a little bit more used to the playing surface, but the Fijians, obviously with that firm playing surface, they're running rugby and their handling skills were second to none today in very difficult, blustery, windy conditions. Thankfully the rain held off, but not the easiest conditions to play in. There was a bit of wind that was causing kicks to hang and swirl and awkwardly. But let's just break down the tries. Kickout scores his first try on 8 minutes. Wakeham converts. Kevin Nguama, that's just really, he was first to the ball. The Italians stop playing. They make the silly handling error. He picks up the bouncing ball and he's gone, and they're not catching him. And Nguama's lost half a pace as he's got a bit older and he's a veteran player now. He's coming back to the Super League for next season. His try in 12 minutes. I think that's the moment the Italians really, lost the game. They lost the game in the first 20 minutes of the first half. The first 8 minutes they were defending really, really well, and you can think, okay, the Fijians have got that possession for the moment, but there's going to come a point where they get the ball. They couldn't get settled in the first half. That Nguama try, I think, for me, is the moment where the momentum fully swings into favour of Fiji. Italy were in a decent position with the ball. They forced the pass, poor handling, and that breakaway try. Tagi Tuioma, the hooker, scores his first try in 15 minutes, and Wakeham hasn't missed a kick at goal. He had 2 missed kicks against Australia, doesn't miss any of his 7 today, although he didn't complete the game. It's just a precautionary move. He was hit late after a kick, although the referee cleared it. No one was put on report, no one was sin-binned. Kickout scores his second try in 23 minutes. Wakeham converts that. Again, this is where they win that forward battle. They win on the edge, they win the ruck speed, and Kickout, well, look what he's done for Penrith over the years. He's now going to Canterbury. He will continue to do that at Canterbury. He's a very destructive ball runner, and he's got very good hands as well. He can easily offload the ball right or left, and he's very, very difficult. He's got good footwork as well for a big man. He's exceptionally pacey for a big man. Very hard to put down. He got 2 tries. Coruscant with his first try on 37 minutes. Wakeham converts that. And then possibly the best bit of play I think I've seen in a very, very long time. About 2 minutes in the final set of the half, the Fijians on tackle 5 just keep passing the ball. They were literally playing like they were playing sevens. They were keeping the ball alive, offloads and tackles, they were passing. They butcher what was a certain try. Maybe in that phase of play, maybe put the kick through, maybe do the miss pass and just run. No, they were quite happy to keep moving the Italian defence around until they could find that gap. They couldn't find that gap. They overcommit the pass, and so therefore it's 30-0 at half time. Tagi Tuioma scores his second try on 46 minutes, just after half time. Wakeham converts that. Naku Kumbawi scores his try in 50 minutes. Wakeham converts that. It's in between that try and Maika Sivo's first try, around the 52-53 minute mark, that Wakeham takes a little knock. Maika Sivo scores his first try in 53 minutes. I'm surprised it took a game and a half for Maika Sivo to score his first try of the tournament. Coruscant has now taken over the kicking duties. He was playing in the half today, not at hooker, so not in his first choice position. And I think after Wakeham went off, the game lost a little bit of flow and structure. The Italians actually got back into the arm wrestle a little bit and had a very purple patch because Jake Maizen scores his try basically on the next set on 56 minutes. There is a scrum as well. Very good put down. He's got 4 tries in the tournament. He had a hat trick, obviously, against Scotland. Maybe some Super League and maybe some NRL clubs, and maybe looking at Jake Maizen. He's a very good finisher, and I think he was again. He was one of the Italians' best players. He was one of their best players in game one. He was one of their best players in the second match as well. Even in defeat, he was still willing to truck the ball up and run and take on his opposition winger. Okay, he may not have won that head-to-head battle, but he was willing to make the runs, make the carries, the catches, the tackles, do the ugly side of the game. And of course, the finish is a very, very good finish. And you're thinking hopefully the Italians can get a couple of tries, make the scoreline a little bit more respectable. They were having this purple patch. Maika Sivo scores his second try in 63 minutes, and the game is completely gone at this point. The Italian attempts to make the scoreline respectable have gone, although they did have opportunities in the Fijian 20. Again, that poor final pass, the slow pace of the play of the ball, the Fijian defence being up in their face quite quickly, the pace of the Fijian defence, the physicality of the Fijian defence. Italy could never really get enough time to get that second opportunity. Coruscant obviously converted Sivo's second try. And Sudrugu, again, this is another breakaway by Kevin Nguama, leading from the front, leading by example. Again, realising the pace is like he's lost that little bit of pace. He's been chased down. Sudrugu, that's great, back row forward support play. That's the try in 78 minutes, and Raiwalawi comes on and kicks the final kick of the match to convert. So it is 60 points to 4. Fiji look very likely to be the ones, obviously, to get to the quarterfinals. They play Scotland next. Scotland on a hiding to nothing. Italy obviously have to play Australia. And hopefully the Italians are a little bit more competitive and put a little bit more energy into that Australian game. They may rotate some players, give some players a run out. They looked a little bit leggy and tired in this game. They just could not quite get on that front foot. The Fijians obviously were stung by their performance against Australia. They were outclassed in that game. They would have hoped to get a few more points on the board. They didn't. They responded well. However, depending on how badly injured Wakeham is, it may just be precautionary. That could prove a bit of an issue with Coruscant not being an out-and-out half. He's more of a dummy half. So they were technically playing only with one half back today, 2 hookers on the field. That could be interesting in the halves combination if Wakeham is not past fully fit for the next game against Scotland. And look, Italy probably aren't going to make the quarterfinals now. They won't make the quarterfinals now. This was a must-win game for Italy and Fiji. And Fiji obviously were more motivated, more passionate, and more tuned into it, and clearly hurting after that defeat. Italy, they played well against Scotland. There's no doubt on that. And there was a little purple patch in the second half where they really had some good sets with the ball, but that Fijian defence and forcing that pass, they never really got settled, and sometimes that can happen. And the Italians going into this game before kick-off probably had a very good chance of upsetting the Fijians if they started on the front foot. They didn't, and therefore you surrendered the momentum. I do think Nguama's first try in 12 minutes was the moment that the Italians actually mentally lost the game. The physicality by Kickow's second try, the game is won. The Italians have lost the mental and physical battle. And then, of course, Wakeham going off, that focus and direction leaves the Fijians a little bit, but they had enough in the bank to win the game. So there we go, Fiji, convincing winners over Italy, a plucky Italian side. But look, the Italians have got one win in this tournament. They still haven't made a quarter-final. I think that's something the Italians would have wanted to have targeted, would be that, quarter-final being their version of the World Cup final. But the Italians haven't disgraced themselves. A lot of these Italian players play at much lower levels than these Fijian players, and the fact that they went toe-to-toe with them, for the whole 80 minutes, and there was that period in the second half where the Fijian scoring really slowed. The Italians got their bit in the arm wrestle and were getting good field position. They score a good try. It's good to see that these Italians are giving it a go, and hopefully some of these Italians, I think, can and should be playing at a high level. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will have some more video content for you very, very soon.